Good morning, folks. This is Sunday. It's a Sunday morning. It's been a while since I've talked to you folks, and lots have been happening here. I've had some health issues, had some computers hacked. Everything from the vacuum to the washing machine exploded in this house. Well, it didn't actually explode, just stopped working. And we're gonna have a little fun today and possibly piss off some people that watch these things, because whenever you attack somebody's belief system, you're going to get hurt in one way or another. Let's call this talk redefining reality. Redefining reality. Think about that. What is real and what is not? Well, this cup of coffee is real. The cup is real. The contents is real. The components it takes to make the taste that I enjoy so much is real. But when you see coffee being drank on the television, is that real? Or is that the perceived reality? Do they link in your mind the memory of you drinking your coffee with what you see in plain sight on your television? Using that as a premise, okay? That's a very simplistic illustration of what I'm about to tell you. Perhaps it's time to rethink reality. Perhaps, not only in America, but worldwide, there has been a great measure of deception by the controllers of this planet. I'm not going to say Jews, I'm not going to say Freemasons, I'm not going to say CFR, I'm certainly not going to say Palladians and Greys or anything like that. I'm not going to say giants, I'm not going to say the Pope, I'm not going to say any of those things, although every one of them are components of the perceived reality that you exist in. Your mere existence, other than your own personage, your own body that you can feel and touch, and this cup of coffee is a figment of your imagination. You're going to say, oh, Tom, that's kind of a stretch, right? But no, think about it, all right? You are cultivated from the womb to the grave. There are many, many very, very important things going on. Look around you, okay? And look at the things that you have acquired in a course of a lifetime. Look behind me. Signed books, lots of books. They contain lots of words. Do you hear those words? No. Basically, what you do is, when you read the book, the word goes through your eyes, into your memory, and you hear the word. Sometimes, if you're lucky enough to have interviewed the author, you'll hear his voice. It's a wonderful human experience called reading. How many of you read? How many of you would sit through a couple paragraphs or a chapter of my rhetoric? That's what you would call it, rhetoric. But you want to know something? I'm attacking your belief system, because this couldn't possibly be. They wouldn't ever do this to us. Which one of you can identify they? Identifying they is one of the hardest things that anyone could ever do. We live in a world of total distraction. Okay, now that I've salted your subconscious for what I'm about to tell you, and I picked Sunday morning to pontificate on you this theory, which may or may not be true. I mean, just because I researched these things for more than 30 years doesn't mean they're correct. Remember, everything, with the exception of this cup of coffee, is a false reality. Okay? All right. Let's look at the weather. Let's look at legislation. Let's look at property rights. Let's look at civil rights. Let's look at morality. Let's look at all of these things that we were taught. Who gave this to us? Who gave these things to us? God. Okay? Well, whose God gave them to you? I mean, many religions, and all these religions are all different, but they all worship an entity or a deity or something along the line. Well, God was an extraterrestrial. He's all-seeing and this, that, and the other. Well, just to eliminate a lot of the nonsense, let's just say the Creator, okay? The Creator was the maker of all things. And the only thing that I know for sure is He gave me the components to make this coffee. All right? Now, if we're going to start from the beginning, all right, you know, you could go back to the Bible, but what was there before there was the Bible? Oh, there was a Babylonian text. What was it before the Babylonian text? It was the Sumerian Bible? I don't know. These are things that I've looked into, but I've gotten a little bit of knowledge here. I've also learned the Aztec calendar, the Mayans, Celtics, and the Aztecs read off the Mayan calendar. And funny part about it is they only have 320 days in there in the cycle of their year, and we have 365 days. Well, I guess we've upgraded a little bit, but if you look into the Hopi Indian prophecies, you have basically the same type of 2012 doomsday or day of reckoning or whatever you want to call it. But the ancient people did acquire a certain measure of knowledge. Now, I'm not going to get into the people from spaceships came down and did this and did that and all these kind of things, because that's purely theory, because I didn't see it, see? It wasn't part of this reality, okay? All right, the reality of the situation is right now. You people who live in America, you have the perceived reality of freedom. You are the most licensed and controlled people on the planet. Let me explain that to you again. You are the most licensed and controlled people on the planet. What do you actually need in life? Okay? Well, I needed this jacket, right? I needed these eyeglasses to shade my eyes from ultraviolet light. I needed this little baseball cap, you know. But other than that, what do you really need? Everything else has been marketed to you. The people that control this planet are marketers. They have no boundaries. They have no moralities. They are only driven by the bottom line. They are business people. Okay? So if you need to start a war somewhere, we need to, we need to make the munitions and sell it to this one and transfer the money from this one to that one. And then what we need to do is all of the transportation fuel used to send the bodies home, and all of the planes are going to be made to carry the bodies, and then the real estate is going to be used to bury the bodies, and how many people. We have a war-like existence, not only in this country, but in this world. Okay? People in South America that have lived for thousands and thousands of years all of a sudden needed a hydroelectric plant. Why? So, the madness of the refrigerator and the television and the stereo and all of those things that they never needed before has to become a priority in their life so that they can be controlled. Well, the goods and services that you can provide, okay, what are they being given to you for? Before, they were just hunting and eating monkeys and having all kinds of stuff. Now, I'm not against progress in any way, but the absolute simplicity of man, the way the Creator made man, has been so altered. It's even being genetically altered now by our own people, by our own scientists, playing God, social sciences, genetic engineering. Yeah, they can engineer out some of the illnesses that the Creator missed. But possibly, if we were to get more back to the land. But I'm getting a little bit off track here. Let's get back to the reality. We have too many distractions in life, my friends. Way too many. And these distractions, manufactured by the people who run this world, okay? Like, let's get back to them. Maybe you've got 5 families that run the entire world. I mean, really run the entire world. Okay? These are the enemies of humanity. The Iranians are not the problem. The Muslims are not the problem. The Jews are not the problem. The heads of these, say, 5 families. John Coleman, a wonderful, wonderful researcher, wonderful man, wrote a book called The Committee of 300. I suggest you read it. And that said 300 families around the world. But I think out of all those 300, they got ahead. And I think it's down to like 5 people. Remember what I said about identifying they? Remember the phrase, national security, a threat to national security? We have evolved past the borders. There is a threat to global security. These idiots are going to blow up the planet. And, when you get to a situation where the weather is, there's typhoons every day, and 30 earthquakes over a weekend and everything, don't you think that that's a little strange? Okay, they can't pump enough chemicals into the core of the earth to cause that kind of torsional change in the facade or the face surface of the planet. All right? Now, let me show you a little bit of technology. All right? The CO2 carbon emissions that these scientists or the bright lights like Al Gore are trying to push. The raise in CO2, okay? The raise in CO2 globally is directly attributed to the deforestation program in South America. If you don't want the CO2 to rise, don't cut down the trees, okay? Now, they say global warming, global warming, global warming. Whenever you hear that, go out and buy more thermal underwear because they're lying. How can we have global warming if you've cut down all of these trees, okay, which would bring up the ambient temperature, and the temperature's still getting colder? Something is happening to the earth. And you know what, folks? It's something that they cannot control. And you know what that is? Every 11,500 years or every 7,500 years, something enters our solar system cyclically. It shows up and it passes real close. And you might want to look at massive coronal ejections. And it's funny, coincidentally, that this planetoid, I guess we'll call it a planetoid or something maybe as big as Jupiter or possibly bigger than Jupiter, is going to come into our solar system and cause gravitational pull on the Earth and twist that Earth a little bit around, okay, where all of your plates will shift. Maybe you'll have some fracturing in the surface. Maybe you'll have some redistribution of water. Maybe you'll have a flash freeze. I don't know. But according to the Sumerian text, it has happened 126 times. Now, I'm not telling you that you need to build an underground bunker. And I'm not telling you that the DNA testing testing and data bank that they've been gathering over the years was to clone the people that they want. Okay? And look at Noah's Ark. Look at Noah's Ark as a DNA data bank. Okay? Now, we're going to have an East and West America soon. These idiots have come up with the idea of spilling the Mississippi River into a fault line. Well, they build nuclear power plants on fault lines. They build all these things. Nobody in industry can be this stupid for a reason. Okay? These people are redefining not only our existence as a species, but they are redefining our continents because they know what's coming. With the planetoid only a year away, by this summer you should be able to see two suns towards August. It's coming. And it's going to have incredible gravitational pull. And the only reason that I'm even bringing this up is because they're going to tell you about Obama's election, or they're going to tell you about the Chinese foreclosing, and these are all very interesting things and everything, but nobody's talking about that planetoid. Me, Tom from Brooklyn, I'm going to tell you, move inland, okay? Move to a high elevation. 2,000 feet will be fine, because the rest of the world will end up underwater. Your only key to survival, unless you have the resources to get off the planet when it happens. It's going to happen in 2012, folks. It's going to start happening. I mean, you've got it. Volcanoes, fire in the sky, the whole bit. That's the massive coronal ejection that NASA does say is going to happen in 2012. Funny how all of this is going to happen in 2012. And according to the Sumerian texts, it has happened 126 times. Well, you have a wonderful Sunday. And pray to your Creator, because I believe the people that gave you your religion, and your religion was given to you, folks. The people who gave you your religion was just to control you and profile you and keep you within the parameters of a certain measure of thinking. I wish you all well. I wish you all clarity of thought. And as crazy as all this may seem, try to explain it a little better than I can.